থাক।
The wheel, the single most important prototype around which modern civilization is built up. And the car on four wheels, the most prolific symbol of man's journey to modern times. And yet, these cars have become, on the wheels of time, things of the past, junk to many, vintage to those who understand the value of the past, the solid foundation upon which to build the future.
Declare open this old car exhibition.
These vintage cars represent the genius of the most innovative of mankind, impetus to surge ahead, proud traditions that lend character. And very symbolically, today, the old and the new have merged. As always, the new coming upon and benefiting from the old. A man's attachment to his car is a sort of a love affair. It's a deep attachment to a trusted friend, like this old man here.
I was judge of the small causes court.
Yes, still there, still in the race. This Austin 7 of 1925 belonged to the Maharani of Natur. Now we have the car in Natur, but no Maharani, unless we think of ones like her. The old car rally is becoming increasingly popular, and there's a lot of fun and gaiety surrounding the rally. This one began on the morning of the 19th of February, 1988. Hearts throbbing, faster perhaps than the engines, all get ready for the race. And with a flourish of the checkered flag, the race is on. This day, not very long ago, the entire taxi service of Nasihat is obviously in fine running condition and a great vintage piece. Only the people of Nasihat never knew it. In the middle of today's maddening traffic, the old cars hold their own. Truly a credit to the dedicated gentlemen who spent so much time, effort and money to make them run. This Chevy 26 is another great vintage piece. There were in fact 6 categories according to horsepower in this year's car rally. And here is a car with really royal lineage, a Dodge 34, belonged to the Maharaja of Agartala, complete with costume Sikh driver. And yet another Maharaja car, a Rolls-Royce of 1926, still rolling on, goes to show a Rolls is forever. And this Dodge 37 is a real survivor, was the staff car of the Allied Army during the Second World War. And this here is a Chevrolet 29. Off to a slow start. But from the smiles of the occupants, hopefully a better finish. The second vintage car rally of the Old Car Club of Bangladesh began from the Hotel Shonagao, went on up to the middle of Mohakali Road to the point opposite the Panda Gardens, and then made the U-turn to head back to the Sheraton Hotel where it all ended. The Rolls, still beautiful even among today's modern cars. The judges and the timers with stopwatches, timing these beautiful old machines, for many of which, time stopped long ago. Or so we thought. But look, they run, and they run fine. Like this Chevrolet Phaeton, such a lovely of the original horse-drawn Phaeton. Out rolls the Jaguar, old but still roaring, and if it's any comfort to its occupants, sponsored by an insurance company. First leg done, the cars make the U-turn at the Panda Gardens, and then the final leg to the Sheraton Hotel, where this year's race ended. For the proud little Austin that won the first prize in its category this year. No, not a home in the air, but the Maharaja of Agartala's Dodge, come a long way on the wheels of time.
Done.
Weaving in and out of Dhaka's crazy traffic, the Sunbeam Talbot, just as though it were meant for today. This spidery-looking piece of interest is an Austin Hill. And this is a Chevrolet 50, familiar to a lot of Dhaka citizens. The race at its peak now, as the handlers urge the cars on. But here is a real rarity, the Opel Super 6, the only one of its kind in Bangladesh, and one of the very few left in the world today. And you can see butter for your feet. But for feats of driving, the Opel Super 6. And at the Sheraton, one of the sponsors, the end of the race. For this year, of course, because as you have seen, for these grand old machines, you never can tell when it's the end of their race.
How you feel?
I feel great. I felt great.
Great.
Yes, indeed, a great feeling for those who take pride in man's achievement. This is a Crossley, in fact in 1949, a hot shot. A little embarrassing at this moment, but we all have our moments of embarrassment. And unlucky 13, they say. A Morris 8, 1959. Starting, of course, but with a little help from friends. But then, what are friends for anyway? The prize-giving ceremony at the Hotel Shonargaon was a grand finale to a wonderful day.
We welcome you to the prize awarding ceremony of the second vintage car rally organized by the Old Car Club of Bangladesh and jointly co-sponsored by Shonargaon Hotel and Dhaka Sheraton Hotel. Our chief guest today is Barrister Moinul Hussain, and our special guest, the British High Commissioner in Bangladesh, His Excellency Mr. T.G. Streeton. May I request Barrister Moinul Hussain
His Excellency, the British High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Mr. Streeton, the Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. We have gathered here to go over the events that occurred this morning. In the delightful spring morning, Vintage Car Rally Bangladesh 1988 commenced. And I was impressed by the presence of so many enthusiastic visitors, old and young, who came to cheer the participants.
Well, what a splendid morning it all was. And I think we have to congratulate very much the Old Car Club of Bangladesh for what they have done this week and especially what they have done today. Now, when your chairman, Mr. Habibur Rahman Sunny, to win the Concours d'Elegance, the first prize, and the day came and he invited me to join him, and he'd spent all his spare time, his family, his business.
Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to our prize-giving ceremony, and I want to thank all the sponsors, especially the two hotels, Shonargaon Hotel and the Dhaka Sheraton, the different companies who have sponsored the cars, the technicians who are behind the restoration of the cars, the owners of the cars for having the patience with their technicians and the people who drove the cars, and also the people who drove the cars today. At least I admire their courage.
Farooq, one of the big collectors, says he began collecting these vintage cars about 12 years ago, sitting on his first car at the moment, the Ford A.
রিসেন্ট বলতে হবে।
আচ্ছা, তো প্রথম যে গাড়িটা জোগাড় করেছিলেন সেটা কি?
সেটা ছিল মডেলে, এটাই আমার প্রথম গাড়ি।
আপনারা কোন পর্যন্ত গাড়িকে ভিন্টেজ বলে
At
ধরছেন?
how old the cars become vintage, he says the minimum age should be at least 25.
Minimum age হতে হবে at least 25.
And after all the festivities, let's take a look at all that went on before and behind the scene. A collector's garage, where these old cars are painstakingly rebuilt, often with spare parts forged locally. Hard work, painful and slow, but love's labor.
I started collecting cars when I was 8 years old. It first started with model cars, but after the war in 73, I started collecting real cars. And my first car was a Vauxhall of 1948. In fact, I got the inspiration of collecting old cars, seeing my father's old Bangla motor garage. Till now, I've collected 36 cars, out of which 15 have been restored. And I plan to restore the others in the near future. Our next plan of the Old Car Club of Bangladesh is to hold a mart trial around the middle of 88. And our next rally will be held around December 89 or January 1990.
Yes, but as man's march into the future progresses, let's always remember to hold on to the roots.